Well, I reached out to you because you had a string of tweets, and I kind of wanted to get the story behind what prompted these tweets, and then we can kind of go like row by row through some of these. This uh, basically a Twitter rant,
Right. It was
but
a
I
Twitter
think
rant.
it's an important one.
Yeah. I during like so I, give lessons to girls from all different teams, all different ages, all different levels in my area. So I feel like I have a really good opinion on what this organization could be like and this one's like, and just in my area in general. And then traveling, our team doesn't really ever play local. So I'm traveling up and down the East Coast, playing a bunch of other different, organizations, big organizations at that. And so it's tryout season. And just the way that some of these people handle that, whether professionally or the parents or the girls, like it just blows my mind that that is acceptable to do and why no one is being held accountable for that. I hear these stories of, yeah, my coach just called me and told me I'm not allowed back, and that was it, and hung the phone up. And I was like, okay, well, why? And then it's like, you haven't been showing progress, or there's just so many of these examples that I can of just talking to parents and players who I see daily
Yeah.
about it. Coaches, girls saying they're moving on to a different team and coaches hanging up on them, grown men hanging up the phone on teenage girls because they're trying to make a move that betters themselves as a softball player.
Mm-hmm.
And those kinds of things that I just cannot wrap my head around, that why that is acceptable to any person on this planet. It blows my
Mm-hmm.
mind.
Yeah.
So tryout season really was the main contributor to those tweets.
Yeah. Can we kind of dive in to one of those examples? And
Yes.
maybe we can help people kind of no, I'm being
Yeah, I
totally
know. It's
serious.
just,
Like,
yeah.
how can we look at this situation through a different framework, and how can we better communicate? Because like when I hear you talk about these things, these are really deep seated communication errors that unfortunately end up circling back again, either with another coach, another player, another parent, because that poor behavior gives somebody basically the permission to act poorly to other people. And we really need to kind of like stop that kind of train of behavior. Do you mind? I mean,
Not at all.
we can even do a little role playing
We
if you want.
really need a good
Yeah.
example.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can call you up right now and we can go through this together.
Okay.
And just before we do this, and the also like the main part of that is there's just no one that's holding these people accountable. And I think that that's why it continues to happen. There's these organizations with so many teams. Who's at the head saying that behavior is unacceptable? Like,
Yeah.
like I get you have your own team, but you're put under a whole different brand. And now, because I'm coaching in this organization too, now that's a bad light shed on me because you are acting that way. And so, like, I think that there's just some accountability that needs to be taken, and that's another thing. But yes, let's go back to that.
Actually, sorry, just kind of before I lose this train of thought,
Yeah.
the accountability across, let's just stick with club softball, has completely been thrown out the door. Let's just talk about how there's, pay to stay tournaments. There are organizations that have ballooned out to, I don't know, hundreds, like you go from state to state.
Yeah.
The treatment of players, also some blame is put on the parents who just like drop their kids
100%.
off with these people, and you have the only credibility that you have for some of these coaches is that they coach some other players, but you have no idea of like their background, their history. And it's kind of like, you have this logo, like, here you go, here's my kid.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's a Division
Go
One
do what
scholarship.
you will. Go make her the
Yeah,
best
yeah.
softball. Like,
Versus
it's your
like,
job now because I pay you to be a Division One softball player. Go ahead. And it's like, that is just not how it is, or how it should be, or there's just so many ways to take the
accountability across across the board. It needs to be reeled in. And I mean, just sorry, I don't mean to hijack the conversation, but I think that was part of. I feel like that was part of the reason why I kind of got out of coaching, is that like it became it wasn't about like the love of softball anymore. It was about, get me to where I need to be. And then as a college coach, like the need to win, and that winning is in the hands of 18 to 22-year-olds. Like, I was like, when I looked at it that way, I was like, whoa, what am I doing?
Yeah, exactly.
And then nothing against people who coach in college, and that's your life's passion, and you feel like you're destined to do that. But for me, it just wasn't for me.
And the whole point is like, the whole point of travel ball, like college softball doesn't exist without travel ball. And it is so important. And it is so important, your impact on this girl who is going to be 18 and 22, whose their college coach's job rests on their shoulders. But if they haven't been taught how to act like a human being through travel ball and all those examples of life through that time, and learning how to work through things, and learning that you suck sometimes. And so when you do suck sometimes, you're not just scared out of your mind that you're going to be gotten rid of and the next thing's going to come in, like, and some loyalty and those things are taught then, like they shouldn't have to wait to be taught when you're 18 and 22. And all of that is I have not seen that at all. Like, it's just a revolving door of players and coaches and teams, because there's no loyalty on both sides of the fence, of coaches, of the parents, it's just constant. And it's like, how can you expect a girl to be now all in at this level if you can't even teach them how to do that growing up? So
totally. And what kind of lesson is to be learned when you're in your teens that you're disposable?
Right.
That's awful.
Like, as a teenage girl, that's the worst feeling in the entire world. Whether it's relationships, whether it's family, whether it's sports. Like, I decided to play sports because it gave me a sense of empowerment. It built confidence in me as a girl. Like, and that's not even a safe place anymore to do those things, because you are so disposable. Like, you suck, goodbye, next. Like, and you're so little. Like, I remember being a 15-year-old girl thinking I was grown. You are not grown, right? Like, they're so little and fragile and developing in so many different ways and going through all new experiences every day. So the disposable tweet was really near and dear to my heart. The whole come to Jesus moment of like, why are we coaching travel ball? Like, like, why did you start? Whether it's your daughter played and you wanted to be a part of it. And so when that ends, why are you still coaching? Right? Is it to better everyone, or every player that comes into your team, to like prepare them for the next level of whatever level that is? And a lot of the time, probably people haven't thought about that in a really long time as to why this is even happening still for them.
Totally.
Or why it's a hobby or whatever.